Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing simplifying expressions and solving equations. So first thing we're going to have to do is talk about what an expression is. So an expression is a bunch of terms. They could be 3y plus 2x minus 3, and what we have to do is we have to simplify that. This expression doesn't have an equal sign, so that's the difference between an expression and an equation. An equation has something like 3y minus 2 equals 5. So you would have to solve for what that equation, that number would be for our x. So that's solving equations. It has an equal sign, so it's an equation. So that's the difference there. We're going to move to our first example here, where we simplify our terms here. So this here doesn't have an equal sign, so we know it's an expression. What we're going to do first is I want to group like terms. So like terms mean terms that are very similar. So we're going to look at our first term. And our first term here is 3m. First thing I did with 3m was I drew a triangle around 3m. I'm going to look down the line and see if there is anything else with an m in it. Well, these don't have m's. 2m squared has an m. The only difference is there's a squared there. It has a power. So we can't group it together, can't call it a like term because it has a power. So it's different. It's its own type of term. So the next thing we're going to look at is positive 9n. With our positive 9n here, I drew a circle around it. So we're going to go down the line and look for anything else with a n in it, just an n. So we say, okay, well, negative 4, no. Positive 2m squared, no. Negative 8n. Well, this has an n and doesn't have a power, so it's going to be a like term. So we're going to draw a circle around this one also. So I drew my circle. We're going to go down again and look down the line. And negative 4, I'm going to put a little line under. If it shows up. So I have a little line under it. Negative 4 doesn't go with anything else here because we only have left over is 2m squared. So 2m squared is on its own. So I'm going to leave that empty. So here the main thing is you have to remember that when you're grouping your like terms, that you have to always group them based on their similarities. So remember we said that the 3m though doesn't go with the 2m squared. They're different. But our 9n can go with our negative 8n. So with these here, I'm going to show you by drawing arrows. We're going to bring down our 3m here. So our 3m goes on its own. So that's going to be our first thing that we're going to write. The next thing we're going to look at is our positive 9n. What we have to remember is the sign, meaning positive or negative, travels with the term, always travels with the term. So from here, we're going to bring down our 9n with an arrow once it starts. I'm going to bring down my 9n. Next thing we had with a circle, I'm going to group it together, is my negative 8n. We bring that over, negative 4, positive 2m squared. So the only things we can combine here are 9n and minus 8n. So we're going to be left with 3m. Do your math here. We have 9, positive 9 minus 8. We're going to have positive 1n. So 9 plus 1n, don't have to write the 1 there, minus 4 plus 2m squared is your final answer. So we're going to move on to the next example. Our next example here says simplify 2x minus, and then in brackets, 2x minus 1 plus 3, and then in brackets again, 3x plus 2. So there's a couple things that we have to do first. It says simplify. It's an expression. There's no equal sign. So we're going to combine our like terms. But before we combine our like terms, we have to expand into our brackets. So we look here. We ignore this 2x right now. The 2x stays out in front. This negative, like I said, the positive or negative have to travel with your term. You're going to say, well, there's not a term here. Well, there is a 1. So remember, if there's nothing there and there's just a positive or negative sign, it is a 1. So we're going to expand in by multiplying. So we get negative 1 multiplied by 2x. Then we are going to multiply negative 1 by negative 1. So we have to multiply this number that's outside the brackets inside. You only multiply the first term that's right beside the brackets, not what is on the outskirts there. So you're going to move to your next one, positive 3. We're going to multiply positive 3 into 3x, and then multiply positive 3 into 2. So from here, when we multiply through, we're going to have 2x, negative 1 multiplied by 2x gives us negative 2x, negative 1 multiplied by negative 1 gives us positive 1, positive 3 multiplied by positive 3x gives us 9x, positive 3 multiplied by 2 gives us 6. So from here, this is where you're going to group your like terms again. So we're not done yet. We're going to say, okay, well, I have an x here, I have an x here, and I have an x here. So these can all go together. So we're going to say, well, 2x minus 2x. Well, those two will just cancel each other out. Plus 1 plus 9x. So we combine all of our x's here. So I eliminated a step where we combine them. And then so we're going to have 9x is left over. The only things that aren't underlined are positive 1 and 6. You're going to add those two together where you get 7. So that's our final answer when we simplify. Next thing we're going to move on to is solving an equation. This is an equation because it has an equal sign. So there's a definite answer what this is equal to get our left side equal to our right side. Or we'll solve what x is equal to. So if you're able to plug it back in, it would be your left side equal to your right side. So the first thing we're going to do is combine our like terms. Well, we have a 10 here. We need to get that combined with our our 8. We want to isolate the x all on its own on one side. So when we do that, we're going to bring the 10 over to the opposite side. When you bring it to the opposite side, you have to remember that the sign, meaning positive and negative, changes. So we're going to have negative 2x equals 8, bring it to the back, minus 10. So our next answer here looks like negative 2x equals, well, we have 8 minus 10. The bigger number is negative, so we know our answer is going to be negative on this side. So we have negative 2x equals negative 2. So from here, our negative 2 is multiplied by our x, so we're going to have to undo the multiplication by division. So you divide negative 2 by negative 2 to cancel that out here. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 here. Two negatives make a positive. So we have x, in the end, is equal to 1. So there we just solved this equation here. We're going to move to the next one. If we said solve this equation, again, we know it's an equation because there's an equal sign. It's a little bit more complex because there are x's on both sides of the equation. So the first thing we're going to do is try to get all of our x's together. So we have 5x, x, and negative 6x. Well, let's just look at our left side right now and combine our x's. Well, on the left side, we have 5x and x. So with those ones, we're going to underline them. So I have 5x and x. Those two combined together give us the 6x. So we added them together. Remember, if there's not a number there, it's a 1. And we leave our 2 there. The next one's negative 6x minus 4. So we did that. Now we want to get all of our x's on one side. So I left 6x on this one side. I had to bring this negative 6x to the opposite side. By doing that, it changes the sign. So it makes it positive. Plus 2 equals negative 4. The next thing we're going to do here is combine. So we have to combine our x's. We're going to get 12x plus 2 equals negative 4. We got to get rid of this 2, bring it to the other side. So by doing that, we're going to minus 2 from both sides. So we're going to get 12x equals negative 4 minus 2. When we do that, you're going to combine these. We'll get 12x is equal to negative 6. When you have 12x equal to negative 6, from there, you have to isolate your x, so you're going to have to divide by 12 to undo multiplication. So you're going to get negative 6 divided by 12 gives us negative 1/2. So that's the end, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure that you answer the questions online.